Welcome once again, my fellow manipulators of digital fate. I'm Richie, this is Capricorn. Today we're back at it with another standard deck tech containing Tarkir Dragonstorm. Dragonstorm is here, guys, and we hit the ground running with some crazy brews. This one in particular is going back to an oldie but goodie. This one's called Yotian Storm, and we're doing Boros tokens, but we're doing Boros tokens with a Capricorn twist. I'm going as deep as I can with some of the new cards from the last two sets, not just Tarkir Dragonstorm, which brings us two of the best cards from the set that work insanely well in this deck, but we also have a couple cards from Aether Drift that I think might have been overlooked in Token Brews. And I think this deck is just absolutely wild. Not only that, but it gives us the opportunity to go back to an oldie but goodie, one of my pet cards, Yotia Declares War, which I think is absolutely insane in token decks now, and very easily overlooked since it's almost 3 years old. But I do think that card is nuts in this deck, and I'm super excited about how this deck turns out. So we're going to break down the deck, we're going to get straight into gameplay. Before we do, please like the video, it helps me get it out to so many more people. And click subscribe, because I have a ton of crazy decks on the way. In fact, the crazier ones are the ones that are coming up next. I wanted to definitely get this one out of the way first, since it's kind of a known quantity, even though some of the twists that I'm adding aren't necessarily, and I think this version is especially fun. But you can expect some pretty crazy wild brews coming in the next few days. So hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Catch me live Monday through Friday over on Twitch. That's twitch.tv/QuarantineCapricorn. Because if I'm live and I'm breathing, I'm there and I'm streaming. Now let's break down the new Boros tokens. Alright, so we're returning to Boros tokens, but we have some new twists coming out of Tarkir Dragonstorm, and a couple of cards from Aether Drift that are actually making the cut in this version as well. And the two cards that are coming out of Tarkir Dragonstorm are some of the most powerful cards available in that set, so it shouldn't be any surprise that this deck is going to be absolutely nuts now. First of all, we have Elspeth Stormslayer, 5 mana for a 5 loyalty planeswalker. Whenever you create any tokens, you get double the tokens. Upticks to give you a 1/1 white soldier creature token, which ends up being 2 because of the static ability. 0 loyalty puts a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control, and they all gain flying until your next turn. That part is really important. Being able to give all of your token creatures flying until your next turn means you can block all of their flying creatures. Even if they try to attack and get rid of your Elspeth, you can help keep Elspeth alive in that way, which is super, super important. And then if you're desperate, you can -3 to just destroy any creature an opponent controls with mana value 3 or greater. So this card just does everything for token decks, and it's going to be a staple. I honestly think it's kind of the next Wandering Emperor, where any deck at all that's running any kind of token synergies whatsoever, they're going to want to run at least 3 copies of this card. You're going to see it everywhere. It's insane. We also have 4 copies of United Battlefront, which is equally insane. 4 mana for a sorcery. Find 2 non-land, non-creature permanents with mana value 3 or less from among them. Put them onto the battlefield. This is sort of like a collected company. You're going to see this card everywhere as well. There are so many really powerful non-creature permanents in Standard right now, especially just because of the depth of the card pool. 3 years worth of cards in Standard, and getting 6 Standard sets a year now means there's just so much more versatility of cards to choose from to pair up with United Battlefront. And in this deck in particular, we're using a ton of non-creature permanents that make token creatures, so United Battlefront is absolutely perfect. We also get to go back to Aether Drift and add a copy of Valor's Flagship. This is in the deck for a couple of different reasons, and I think it's really easy to overlook this card as a card that could potentially be included in a brew like this. It is a 7/7 flying first strike lifelink vehicle for 7 mana that crews for 3, which doesn't seem that great, especially in a deck that doesn't seem to be centered around vehicle synergies, but you can cycle this for 3 mana and X to create X 1/1 tokens that also happen to be pilots. This ends up being super good because if you get the doubling ability of Elspeth, not only are you drawing a card off of cycling the Valor's Flagship, you're getting double tokens when you do cycle it, and then if you do have a Caretaker's talent in play. You're drawing cards off the Caretaker's Talent as well, and Caretaker's Talent is one of the backbone cards of this deck. It has been since its inception. 3 mana enchantment, draws you a card once a turn whenever a token enters under your control. Can level it up for just 1 mana, copy any token, which if Elspeth is out, you're going to get double copies of that token. And then also level it up to level 3 for 4 mana, and all of your creature tokens get buffed so that you can swing in for the Alpha Strike and win the game, which is just insane. This card kind of has everything packed in a similar way to Elspeth, so being able to run both of them in the same deck seems kind of nuts. But when you have a Valor's Flagship to cycle, you're getting double tokens out of Elspeth, you're drawing a card off the cycle, you're drawing a card for each Caretaker's Talent in play. It gets kind of nuts. But then it gets even crazier when you realize we're running 2 copies of Chandra Sparkhunter. For 4 mana, we get a 4 loyalty Planeswalker. At the beginning of combat on our turn, we can choose up to 1 target vehicle you control, and until end of turn, it becomes an artifact creature and gets haste. So if we happen to get the actual Valor's Flagship into play, which we're never going to be able to hardcast this. We're never going to try to hardcast this, right? But there are ways in this deck of getting this into play after using the cycling ability, which I think is what makes it so special. But if we do get it back into play, Chandra can just crew it for free, and we can swing in with haste with a 7/7 flying first strike lifelinker, which is kind of nuts. Not only that, but all those pilot tokens that we're making can crew all of the tokens that Chandra's making for her 0 loyalty ability, which creates a 3/2 colorless vehicle artifact token with crew 1. So normally we're playing the Chandra, we're making a token, that token is triggering our token synergies like Caretaker's Talent, and we get to swing with it for free. But after you've had Chandra out for a couple turns and you're piling up the tokens, you only get to pick 1 to give haste to. And to crew for free. So how are you crewing the rest of them? Well, if you happen to cycle that Valor's Flagship, especially with an Elspeth out, all of those pilot creatures are easily able to crew whatever tokens you make with Chandra, not to mention the rest of the 1/1 tokens that we're able to spit out at high velocity with this deck. They're able to crew all of those token creatures from previous turns, which is kind of nice. But what makes it really, really crazy is if we cycle the Valor's Flagship, we have the Chandra in play that's ready to go, but we also have a Builder's Talent in play. We can do some insane things. So Builder's Talent's a 2 mana enchantment, creates a 0/4 wall token, so it's going to turn on all of our token synergies as well as let us survive against aggro in the early game, which is really important. Level 2 for 1 white mana, every time we play a non-creature, non-land permanent, more importantly, whenever they enter, we don't have to play them. We get a +1/+1 counter on any creature we control. So we can start to pump up our creatures to an insane degree because every single card in the deck is a non-creature, non-land permanent. So everything we play can spit out counters, which just gets really, really crazy, including the United Battlefront. If we play a United Battlefront, it's going to trigger the Builder's Talent twice because it's going to find 2 non-land, non-creature permanents, put them into play, and Builder's Talent only cares about them entering, doesn't care if you cast them. So United Battlefront will actually trigger that twice, which is even more synergy. But what really makes the Builder's Talent crazy in this deck is on level 3, we can pay 5 mana, return any non-creature, non-land permanent from our graveyard to the battlefield. So not only is this a good way to get back an Elspeth Stormslayer that might have died early, or even maybe get back a Chandra Sparkhunter, it's good at getting back that Valor's Flagship that we cycled earlier in the game. So we cycle it, we get all the value in the world, and then we bring it back with the Builder's Talent when we have a Chandra out, because it can immediately get haste and swing in for 7 points of damage with First Strike and lifelinking in the air, and that just seems absolutely wild. That being said, if we do have the option to get back an Elspeth, we're probably normally going to want to do that. We're also using 4 copies of Carrot Cake, a nice way to generate our token synergies, generate more tokens to trigger our token synergies rather. It's also a way that we can generate a token on our opponent's turn to draw an additional card off of Caretaker's Talent by sacking the Carrot Cake. We also get to run 4 copies of Yotia Declares War. This is one of my pet cards, and it's going to rotate out in a couple of sets. So I definitely want to double down on some of the ideas I have with this card before it's finally gone. But those of you who have been following the channel for a while know that I love to find ways to bend, maybe even approach breakable status with Yotia Declares War, and I think this deck is a good way to do that, because if we do have the Elspeth out, we get to make 2/0/2 flying Ornithopters on Chapter 1 when we play this, which is not nothing, especially when you consider the fact that we have Builder's Talent, so every single non-creature that enters after that point is going to get to pile up counters on the Ornithopters and turn them into actual flying threats. Not only that, but Elspeth's Zero Loyalty ability that puts a counter on every creature and gives them flying until your next turn can start to pile up counters on these Ornithopters as well, and they won't ever lose the flying, so that's some extra synergy built in as well. On Chapter 2, tap any number of untapped artifacts you control, and this saga deals damage equal to that many permanents, whatever you tapped, to any creature or planeswalker. So you also have removal built into this, and you do have to make sure you're running the right cards and going wide with enough artifacts to make this card work. So we are kind of honing in on the stuff that creates artifacts in this deck. But when it pops off, it's awesome. It's another way to just remove something without slowing down on all the value that we're getting by creating tokens and stuff. And then on Chapter 3, we get to just turn one of our artifacts into a 4/4, and sometimes this deck can come out of nowhere and all of a sudden be an aggro deck because that Chapter 3 will line up with some other aggressive plays. So everything on this card is super good in the deck. You just have to be careful to play enough artifact support to make it worth running. And because of that, we're also running 3 copies of Legion Extruder. Not only is this a decent piece of removal in the early game as you're curving out, it can also do 2 damage to your opponent's face to just end the game if you get them low. But it also counts as an artifact, so we can tap it on Chapter 2 of Yotia Declares War to remove another target that might have otherwise been out of reach. It's also a permanent we can grab with United Battlefront, just like we can Yotia Declares War and all of our other 2-drops and 3-drops. But what's cool about Legion Extruder, we can pay 2 mana, tap it, sack an artifact to create a 3/3 colorless golem artifact creature token. And again, if we have Elspeth out when we're doing that, we're getting double 3/3s. So sometimes we can make 2/0/2 flyers with a Yotia Declares War because Elspeth's out, sack one of them, and make 2 3/3s out of it because Elspeth is out. It can just get absolutely bananas. And we're also, to double down on our artifact synergies, we are running 3 copies of Tinker's Tote. Now, this card hasn't seen play in very many decks like this, because it's just not as good as a lot of the other 3-drops. But in this deck, where we want to double down on artifacts with Legion Extruder, Yotia Declares War, and the like, I think it does make sense to run some copies of this. We get 2 1/1 colorless gnome artifact creature tokens as soon as we play it, and both of those count as artifacts, which is really, really important for the Yotia Declares War and the Legion Extruder. We can start to sack those and get immediate value. If we have an Elspeth down, we get 4 tokens, and each one of them can be sacked for 2 3/3s with the Legion Extruder over the course of 4 turns, which just gets absolutely nutty. But then also against aggro for just 1 mana, we could just sack this and gain 3 life to help us survive. So I do think the Tinker's Totes are worth playing, and in addition, we're going to run 3 copies of 𝐸𝑚𝑒 Forge. I was tempted to run 4, but I think we only really care about getting that first copy. Once we're automatically triggering all of our Caretaker's talents each turn with just 1 𝐸𝑚𝑒 Forge, we don't really need another one. We have that inevitability of we're gonna win the game, so I think 3 is the right number, although I wouldn't fault you for running 4. And it just spits out a token every single turn and just has this inevitability of closing out the game, as well as, you know, enabling all of our artifact synergies. But when Elspeth is out, we get 2 every single turn, which is just kind of nuts. It's another thing we can find with United Battlefront, which is also pretty nuts. And if we wait until we're making bigger tokens with this, we can use Caretaker's Talents level 2 to make a copy of it, and the copy will stick around forever instead of having to be sacrificed at end of turn, which I think is super fun. The last card I want to point out is Dollmaker's Shop. Now, we're only running 1 copy because technically this is an 8-drop in our deck, so the United Battlefront can't find it. So I don't want to go too crazy on cards like this. I want to make sure how many cards we can hit off United Battlefront is at as high a capacity as possible. But being able to play this early and generate an extra not only token, but artifact token every single time we attack to enable some of those synergies is nice. And then if we do happen to get to the point where we have 6 mana, we can just unlock Porcelain Gallery and all of our creatures become insanely huge. So I do think it is worth it to run one copy. But because the second Porcelain Gallery doesn't give us any value for us, and also it is an 8-drop we can't hit with United Battlefront, I do feel like just sticking to one copy of this makes a lot of sense. But do run the one copy, because getting artifact tokens every single turn that you can synergize with the Legion Extruder and the Yotia Declares War is super nice. Now, before we check out the gameplay, I do want to point out that there's a lot of gas in the mana base for this deck. We're running 2 Mirrex, 2 Fountainports, and 2 Dalkovan Encampment. We're running the Mirrex specifically because the tokens that it makes are artifact tokens, so we can use them for even more synergy with Legion Extruder and Yotia Declares War and the such. So I do think it's important to have a certain number of Mirrex in the deck. Obviously, we're running the 2 Fountainports. Not only does it allow us to create tokens when we're out of gas, we can sack our tokens to draw cards. And then the Dalkovan Encampment is a new card out of Tarkir Dragonstorm, which lets us pay 3 mana and tap it. And whenever we attack this turn, we create 2 1/1s that will be attacking as well, and then get sacrificed at the beginning of the next end step. So we do lose them, but this is another way for when we're out of gas to make multiple tokens. And if we have an Elspeth out, we get to make 4 tokens that are attacking off this. Sometimes if we get close to just killing our opponent, just being able to activate an encampment and swing with everything could be enough to get the win, especially if we've already leveled up our Caretaker's talents, and now those 1/1s aren't just going to be 1/1s, they're going to be 3/3s, and maybe there's 4 of them because of Elspeth. Swinging with 4 3/3s in addition to whatever else we had on the battlefield, just kind of out of nowhere, just from a land, can be really, really nuts. The fact that they're swinging immediately that turn is what makes them worth running over, say, like a 3rd Fountainport and 3rd Mirrex. So I think 2, 2, and 2 is right, because each of these lands offers value that the other one doesn't. But in addition to these 6 value lands, we're running 3 copies of Sunken Citadel. This comes into play, we get to choose a color, so it helps with fixing a little bit, but mostly we're using this because it can tap for 2 mana of any color if it's used to activate abilities of land sources. So I like the idea of having half as many Sunken Citadels as things that we're going to spend the mana from Sunken Citadel on. So since we have 2, 2, and 2 for a total of 6 of these lands that can spit out tokens, we're running 3 Sunken Citadels, and I think it's the right amount. The rest of the mana base is simply there to allow us to make sure we maximize our ability to be consistent with our colors. And if you want the full breakdown, that is in the description of the video, so check that out. But without further ado, we just need to check out the gameplay, because this thing is absolutely insane, and I would expect to see some version of this on the ladder for the foreseeable future, because Elspeth and United Battlefront are just too damn good. Let's check out the games. Alright, this looks like a pretty good keep. This looks like a pretty good keep. We will keep it. Elegant Parlor, let's try to find a land. There we are. Since we do control a mountain, we'll be able to play it untapped. We'll just get rid of the carrot cake. Builder's Talent. That's going to let us get back some of the value that we discard later on when we hit level 3. I have a feeling we're going to have to discard a land. So I'm actually going to play the Mirrex here. And we'll get the Caretaker's Talent out. Make sure we're holding on to our card draw so that we can refill Hopeless Nightmare. Yep, we saw that coming. Get rid of the mountain. Swings in for 2. That's fine. Not even worried. Not even. That's fine. That's quacktastic. Don't think we want the red source. I think we've got enough. Let's draw a card so that we don't have to discard our Elspeth. Hopeless Nightmare again. I really want the flyer. I'm not gonna lie. I'm actually gonna discard the Forge. He might have another discard spell, so... Oh, he doesn't have any more black mana. Nurturing Pixie, Hopeless Nightmare, save it for next turn, I guess. Fountainport. Problem is, if we play the Elspeth... we can't protect it. We've got no flyers. I guess we could use her ability, right? Give the walls flying if we wanted to. But I think I'd rather draw a card and make 2 more ground blockers. She can most likely survive combat at least. And then we should be good because we can make some flying blockers and hopefully put some counters on them. Or level up Caretaker's talent. Oh, you're not swinging at Elspeth. Interesting. Very interesting. Ooh, United Battlefront. United Battlefront. Maybe I should have leveled up the Builder's Talent first. I was hoping to draw a 3-drop. That's why I didn't. We'll go Sunken Citadel for white. We can sack a token to draw a card. Which I don't hate. Alright. Let's just, let's protect ourselves. Nowhere to run. Alright, well, we'll draw. No attacks. Just hold up all of our blockers. We're too low on life to worry about that stuff right now. Hopeless Nightmare, bounce Hopeless Nightmare, get us to 2. But you're 1 mana shy of being able to play it. Tap any number. Just you. Just you. So if we level up the Caretaker's talent, we got some pretty big boys. Pretty big boys. Let's do it like this. 2 Tinker's Totes, which we can then sacrifice to gain life. I'll put a counter here. Draw a card. Could play the Sunken Citadel, but he's going to make us discard, I think. So I'd rather discard the Sunken Citadel, I think. Let's do this. And we'll swing with some of this stuff. Because why not? Being able to sack the Tinker's Tote for 3 life is pretty huge. So I think we got this game. He was very close. Very close. But we absolutely pulled it out. You got anything? See, this town could bring back the Hopeless Nightmare. He's trying to, like, repeatedly cast the Hopeless Nightmare. He realizes we got the Tinker's Tote for life. Yeah, it's just over. I guess we try to keep this. It's a little bit weird, though. It's a little bit weird. But we can make it work. Carrot Cake on 2, Forge on 3 before we lose access to red. And then any land at all gets us Battlefront, which at that point should be good. I mean, I guess we don't even need to play the Mirrexes early. Fujiyama is playing Abzan. I really like Abzan, and I want to brew it. I want to brew some more Abzan. If I wait until later, the Yotia Declares War can kill the Sinkhole Surveyor. So, I think that's what I want to do. We don't need another Forge, though. Forge on 3. And then, if we do Yotia Declares War on 4, we can tap the Carrot Cake and the Forge and the O2 to kill the Sinkhole Surveyor. Oh no, he's gonna build it up. Okay, we need to find another option. I did not expect that. I did not expect that at all. I expected him to go wide. I mean, I think we can race him with the Forge already out and the Battlefront coming. Good old Skirmish Rhino, huh? Let's see. We could kill the Skirmish Rhino. Do we kill the Skirmish Rhino, or do we tap all of these to kill this guy? I think that's what we do. Skirmish Rhino will get through. It is what it is. Big guy's gone, though. We get to Elspeth next turn. I think we'll be okay. Zombify. Well, that's kind of weird. Did not see that coming. If we Yotia Declares War, we can kill something again. Or we can Elspeth. I think we have to wait on the Elspeth. One. Do we have to do it all? I think we have to do it all. Kill this thing. Which means we can no longer sack the carrot cake, which is kind of a bummer. Pass a turn. Oh. I was supposed to attack with my forge token. I'm such an idiot. Completely forgot about that. I was so focused on trying to stay alive. I mean, that doesn't matter. You put a counter on your dude, we gain life from the Tinker's Tote. No, we sacked the Tinker's Tote, bro. What are you talking about? It is not good game, my friend. I guess we do this. Elspeth. You could kill the skirmish rhino, but the sinkhole surveyor will kill us in the air, right? $13. We actually could have gotten him to 2. We legit could have gotten him to 2. So, unfortunately, we do have to do it like this. Which I don't love. But we win next turn if we survive. We chump block the surveyor. We put a token in front of the skirmish rhino. And we only take 1 from it. Unless he's got some pump. Nope, we go to 2. And I think we're good. I think it's game over. Yep. Good night. This looks fine. We'll try to keep it. We'll start with a mountain to throw him off. We got 1 of every single red card in the deck. Kinda crazy.
Let's rock!
Hey, thanks for the follow, 𝑇𝑒𝑜k𝑒𝑛𝑠. Appreciate you, my friend. Welcome to the stream. Let's see. He's not being super aggressive. I think we try to, I think we just try to set ourselves up with value here. Cut it down. I'm glad you wasted your cut down on our wall when you don't seem to be playing an aggro deck. That feels pretty good to me. Alright, Elegant Parlor. Let's dump the carrot cake. And then... we could reduce the Jace so that he can't draw. Kinda like that. Next turn we'll have 4 mana. So we probably Builder's Talent upgrade 𝕊𝕋𝕆𝕋𝕀𝔸ℕ Forge? Or do we... It's actually kind of tricky. We could also play a 2-drop and then activate a Legion Extruder. We could also just Chandra and attack Jace with the token, which is probably what we should have done. But that's okay, we'll slow roll it. Getting the Forge out a turn sooner means it gets built up that much quicker. So it might not be the better play in the moment over the Chandra, but it might be the better play in the long term. He's got a River Churn Monument. I mean, I don't know if he can race us with Mill. We'll find out, though. We're swinging at him for 2. Which is pretty cool. I think we want a Chandra, though. And kill the Jace. If we can. We've also got Caretaker's Talent, but I don't necessarily think that drawing right now is what's best for us. Since we're playing against Mill. So we will just kill the Jace. He's down to 2 cards. We've got a board full of value. And he's the one backed into a corner. Alrighty, scoops. This hand looks okay. We just won't have red for a little bit. It's fine. Or we Sunken Citadel for red. That's also probably good. We can go Carrot Cake on 2. I was gonna say maybe just cycle the Valor's Flagship on 3. But we can hold off. We can wait. Bottom. We'll try to get to land. Yeah, Legion Extruder is super good with Elspeth. super good with Elspeth. We're just going to start with the Caretaker's Talent here. And then swing in. If we top deck a land, we'll play the Battlefront. Otherwise, we're going to Legion Extruder and level up the Caretaker's Talent. There's the land. United Battlefront. We find a Forge and a Caretaker's Talent. Feels pretty good. Smack. No Elspeth yet, but that's okay. I kind of just want to, like, crank the Caretaker's Talent, start being aggressive, because I know where this is going, you know? What's he hit? The Forge? Okay, it's the Forge. That's fine. That's fine. That's quacktastic. I think we cycle the Valor's Flagship. We end up drawing 2 cards off of it. if we cycle it for at least 4 mana. There's a lot we could do, though. There's just a lot of different directions we can go. I don't know if we play the Builder's Talent, or just get the most out of cycling the Flagship, or just get the Legion Extruder down so that we can start sacking things and making 3/3s. I'm going to play it safe, I think. I'm going to go Caretaker's Talent. Hello, opponent. Could we finish taking our turn? Leyline Binding, sure. Well, what's it targeting? Oh, you hit a Caretaker's Talent. Interesting. Okay, well, we'll draw. Could play a Chandra. There's a lot we could do. We're just going to pass the turn. Cycle Valor for 1 token on his turn. We draw 2 cards. Get lost. Well, that changes everything, doesn't it? Now what do we do? Can't cycle it now and draw. I guess we still do the cycle. It's just not good. But we don't have anything else we can do. We don't have anything else we can do. Jump block. Alright, we will cycle for 1. Don't get to draw. We were going to draw so many cards if he didn't do that. Alright, I think we need to double Legion Extruder. To kill the 𝕊𝕋𝕆𝕝. Before he can use it again. Which leaves us 2 mana. Alright, we kill the 𝕊𝕋𝕝. Pass the turn. We're going to try and kill the Overlord. Bandit. That's enough. You're being loud. Silly pupper. Alright, so he's going to swing. We're going to force him to have some instant speed removal. Waste another leyline, hopefully. Hey, Geth. If he's got removal for the 3/3, it doesn't make sense to also block with this. So, alright, he has to pay 5 for the Ride's End. That's not awful. That is not awful. Alright, we have 7 mana. We're going to try and land a Chandra.
Revs my engines faster. My team's got me covered.
Move to combat.
Kick it into high gear.
Swing. Alright, we hit for 3. End the turn. Temporary lockdown. Man, that's lame. That is super lame. Is this whole deck just removal? At least he gets his own up the beanstalk. But Chandra's gonna die here. You don't feel confident drafting? Give it a go, man. We will absolutely keep that. Alright, so we could play the Forge and attack for 3. If we wanted to. We could also just go Builder's Talent. Level up. One, 2, 4. Don't love it. I don't love any of it. Let's try this. Trigger the Dalkovan Encampment. What would you like, my friend? You're gonna kill my 1/1 token? Just to prevent me from attacking with 2 others? Because I am completely cool with that. Good game. What do you have? Oh, just Zur and attack with everything? Yeah, it's exactly 20. Well, that was stupid. Alright. We are going to keep this. Sunken Citadel on 1, naming white. And then we play Mountain on 2 in the Carrot Cake. Buy us some time if we're up against aggro. Or, since he doesn't have a creature, do we maybe Elegant Parlor this turn so we can play a 3-drop? I think that's probably where we want to be. Part of me kind of wants to keep the land. I think we're going to keep it. Alright, so we'll go Plains. Caretaker's Talent. Is our opponent doing Boros control? That's a damn good question. That's a damn good question. Enduring Innocence, sure. Let's Fabled. We will find another white source because we do not need red. Well, I guess we don't have another white source. I guess we'll just United Battlefront, huh? Find a Forge and another Caretaker's Talent. That seems really good. Draw some cards. And attack. Alright, baby. He's got his own forge. But we are one step ahead. We are, in fact, one step ahead. We're going to play the Elspeth Stormslayer. We will... do we want to kill the Enduring Innocence? Probably not. Let's just do this. Draw some more cards. 2 Forge tokens. And then they sack. How wonderful. How wonderful. Overlord of the Mistmoors. Okay, you've got some insects. That might be a problem. I mean, we'll do this, but we'll let the other 2 through. I'm not super worried about it. Alright, what do we want to do here? We probably want a United Battlefront. Let's do that first, so that we can see what we hit. Another Caretaker's Talent, and a Yotia Declares War. Draw some more cards. No untapped lands, unfortunately. We'll keep you. So we're going to have to discard some stuff. We can copy a token. Which makes 2. And then we're going to 0. And we'll do it like that. So now we have blockers for his insects. And we need to discard some cards. Tinker's Tote is unnecessary, I think. We'll drop 1 Tote, 1 Forge. Seems pretty good to me. Elspeth is just a beast, man. Like, she's the new Wandering Emperor, for sure. She's gonna be in everything white. She's just so crazy. She's just so crazy. And Bandit is so snoring. Right, Bandit? The pupper likes to snore. Alright, that's fine. Sunfall me. I don't even think we need sweepers in this at all. We have so much control on the ground. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I feel like we can maybe just win. I feel like we can maybe just win. Let's start by making some soldiers and drawing some cards. Pineapples indeed. Another Elspeth. Legion Extruder. I think we want to set ourselves up. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 1, 2. Let's just do this. Oh, he's just gonna scoop. We had too many options of things to choose from. It was hard to decide what to actually play. Thanks so much for checking out my channel. I'd like to give a huge shout out to all of my patrons over at Patreon. Without you guys, this channel would not be possible, so honestly, thank you from the bottom of my heart for all of your contributions. If you haven't yet, like and subscribe. The more likes we get and the quicker we get them, the bigger this channel will grow and the faster it will grow. I'd love nothing more than this channel to become something very special for you guys, but it's entirely up to you how fast that happens. Also, if you'd like more deck text, that's somewhere over there. And if you'd like to see what else the channel's been up to lately, that's somewhere up that way. Also, subscribe, circle below, do all the things.